Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen, but are not by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Zekalia, and this video is about the prophecy of World War III. As it is written in the book of Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14, it says, "The second woe is past," talking about World War II, "and behold, the third woe cometh quickly," which is talking about World War III. So World War III is a part of Bible prophecy, and everything that you see on a global scale, geopolitical scale, regarding the tension among these various nations and the different alliances, it's all for the purpose to head towards the prophecy of World War III. All right. You have on one end America, which is Babylon the Great, with its allies, NATO and the EU. America is the whore that rides the beast, which is NATO, and the 10 horns is the European Union. And then you have as well aligned with them the state of Israel, which has been declared an unofficial member of NATO. They are all allied on that side. And then on the other end, their enemies are Russia and Russia's allies. Russia's allies include those of the BRICS nations, BRICS, which includes Iran, China, etc. All right. You can just Google BRICS, BRICS. And so all of this is happening for a reason. It is because these heathen are going to be gathered together, man. All right. The Lord is putting the Spirit upon them to go to war. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves, and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." Which Jehoshaphat is Yehoshaphat, Yahweh's judgment. "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision." And World War III is going to be taking place in the so-called Middle East, which is Western Asia. The scriptures let us know that in the book of Joel, chapter 2 and verse 20. "But I will remove far off from you the northern army," which is talking about America, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, which is talking about the land of Saudi Arabia, with his face toward the east sea, which is talking about the Euphrates River, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea. It's talking about, "And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things." So when you take a look at the map, you can clearly see the location of the Euphrates River and the Red Sea and the land of Saudi Arabia. All right. And then we know the judgment, because we know that they're going to lose over there. America is going to lose. And then after they lose World War III, along with the state of Israel, right, they're going to be aligned together. And the scriptures say that the state of Israel is going to draw out America to go to war, which actually the least Jeremiah 50 and verse 45, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he hath taken against Babylon," which is America, "and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of Chaldeans," talking about them Edomites, who are these so-called white people, who are the ones that are currently in rulership. "Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out," talking about the tribe of Amalek, all right, who are the Ish people, the 1948ers, all right, the state of Israel, "shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." So the state of Israel is going to be making moves that will draw America out to go to war. All right. And so we know the judgment, surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So they are going to be losing. All right. So the two scriptures correlate with one another, right? Here in Joel 2 and verse 20 at the end. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. So they're going to lose against Russia and her allies. All right. But Russia and her allies, they may have won that skirmish of World War III that will happen, you know, the War of Armageddon, Revelation 16 verse 16. But, you know, at the end of that, the missiles are going to be shot at America. So the true victors will be the elect of the nation of Israel, because once those missiles are shot, then, you know, Yahushua is going to return and deliver the elect of the nation of Israel from the four corners of the earth and 1/3 from America. So that is our victory. Okay. So this is what is on the table, and this is what is speedily approaching, along with all of these prophecies, especially that mark of the beast prophecy, which actually the mark of the beast prophecy has to be fulfilled before the destruction of America can occur, because there is a judgment for those who take the mark of the beast, which is a microchip in America. 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. All right. So that prophecy, the mark of the beast, must come to pass first. So keep eyes on that as well. Keep eyes on all the prophecies. Okay. So with that being said, you have this dude, Canadian prepper. He's a prepper. He's a survivalist. You know, he's of that type of people, and he's continuously bringing out different information regarding current events, regarding, you know, the upcoming war. All right, so let's take a bit of a listen to what he has to say. World War III, every country is prepping for the big one, right? Because Yahweh Shemisha is putting the spirit upon these heathen to go to war.
All right, so it appears as though things have taken a turn for the worse. Now, this is typically the kind of video that I would reserve for the Prepper News channel, where it's more open-ended commentary and analysis of current events. But in light of the gravity of the current situation, I figure it's only appropriate that I address my main audience in a way that is unfiltered and freeform, just like the old days. Because I do anticipate a widespread disruption in services as a consequence of the multitude of incendiary flashpoints that we're seeing emerge around the world, geopolitically, militarily, civil unrest, economics. It's all pointing towards calamity and chaos. It's glaringly obvious at this point to anybody who is paying the faintest amount of attention. Now, I want to today just give you a cursory overview of all of the indicators that I'm seeing that are pointing towards escalation and a flare-up in hostilities in multiple theaters of war around the world, and why this is motivating me to double and triple my efforts. And I already am pretty committed to this prepping thing, so you could probably imagine what that entails. But we really are approaching a point where it's undeniable. It is blisteringly apparent that
ordering your favorite pizza at Domino's is as easy as that. Once you place
apparent that it's only a matter of days, maybe weeks at the latest, that we're going to see another war open up, whether that's with Venezuela, whether that's with Iran, whether that's with Russia and NATO. All three of these theaters, it's really a dead heat in terms of where things are going to flare up first, because Iran backed out of well, they didn't back out. They tried to cooperate, but not to the extent that the other members of the JCPOA deemed sufficient. So now snapback sanctions have been imposed. They have pledged that they are not going to back out of the Non-Proliferation Nuclear Treaty, meaning that they will not openly pursue nuclear weapons. However, I don't think this is going to be sufficient for the Western coalition, and thus the casus belli for war still remains. It also appears as though there is a large military conglomeration in and around regions close to Venezuela. And in fact, at the time of making this video, we have President Trump, who has stated that they're actively preparing to do strikes inside Venezuela, which will easily escalate into a major conflict. And of course, that conflict has global geopolitical implications because the Chinese and the Russians have a vested interest in the stability of the Maduro government, and not counting places like Panama and elsewhere across South America. However, perhaps the most important conflict in terms of its potential negative repercussions for all of mankind are, of course, the war between Russia and NATO. Now, just to give you a little bit of context as to what's been going on, if you haven't been watching the Prepper News channel, you might not be aware of the litany of negative data points, all coalescing into a giant cluster, FUCK, of chaos. So we could, of course, have a government shutdown next Tuesday at midnight if the Dems and the Republicans don't agree on certain things. And it appears as though there's a very high probability that that's going to happen.
Right, so this video was from September 27th, and now it's October 2nd? So it's just a few days ago. And so the government shutdown, I do believe that it happened. Let me just fact check that. Yep, there it is. Government shutdown. October 1st, 2025, day one, coverage of the government shutdown. So things are cooking, man.
It's going to happen. I'm not an expert on U.S. politics, and I don't know of what consequence that event in and of itself is going to have. We've had government shut down here, and it's not the end of the world. But, of course, it could complicate other things, and it could lead to greater civil disputes. It could stoke the flames.
The thing about the government shutdown is that over these past few years, there has been different talks and different situations where we've heard about, the government shutdown. So now it has shut down, and now we're going to see what will happen, but the fact of the matter is that we're heading into a point in time where things are going to be escalating more and more and more towards the very chaotic times that Yahweh Shemishai has set for this world, the time of great judgment, man, Jacob's trouble, all right, the time of great tribulation, all right, for the nation of Israel, all right, which actually Jacob's trouble affects everyone else. It is, everybody's going to be feeling it, man. The heathen are going to be feeling it too, but the Lord only refers to it as Jacob's trouble because Yahweh Shemishai only cares about the Israelites, you see, and only warns the Israelites, because we're the Lord's holy chosen people.
Of those existing civil disputes that are raging, whether they along cultural or economic lines. We all know what I'm talking about with respect to that, with the Charlie Kirk stuff. Now, this also is coinciding with a major meeting, an unprecedented meeting.
Yeah, that's a part of Bible prophecy too. That's brewing as well. In Bible prophecy, it says, 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So there's a movie called Bushwick. Go ahead and watch Bushwick, man, for a preview of what is to come.
Never before happened. The United States, Pete Hegseth, the defense minister, the Secretary of Defense, I should say, has called a meeting of all of the top generals in the U.S. military, admirals, generals, anybody above a one-star general is expected to attend this meeting in person at Quantico Marine Base, which is, I believe it's south of Washington. So it's very close to the Capitol. And this has a lot of people wondering, why on earth would you do this? This is a great security risk because, of course, it gives your adversaries an opportunity, perhaps a once-in-a-millennium opportunity, to take out and decapitate your entire upper echelon of your military in one fell swoop. That, of course, would be the ultimate in decapitation strikes because it's very close to Washington as well. Now, would that lead to full-scale nuclear war? Absolutely. but then we would be dependent on skeleton crews and deputies who are going to be commandeering these militaries, these various branches of the military, the U.S. military, and the various areas of responsibility. So you could see why this has people very concerned. I personally have my own theory as to what's going on here. I believe that the communication and the code.
What's going on here is the prophecies of Yahweh Shemishai, all right, which shall come to pass. And that is sure, you know, as it says in the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, and verse 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. All right, so everything is going to come to pass, man. All right, the Lord did not put out empty words. Everything's going to come to pass. All right, so, you know, the video is 21 minutes long. I'm not going to play all of it, but as you can see, that's the channel and that's the video. And then he actually puts up another video here. World War III, a major war begins in October with Professor Jiang. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? Major war begins in 2 weeks. We'll see. You know, things can escalate to that point very quickly, given the times that we're in, but we'll see. We do know that it's on the table based on Bible prophecy. All right, but we shall see how everything plays out, you know. And so it says in 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 31, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And so World War III is coming, man. All right, and these prophecies are not slack. All right, everything is going to come to pass, and it's showing, okay? And everything's gonna be hitting real hot, real soon. Because in the scriptures, the Lord likens it like this. When the prophecies are hitting, 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. And how is the process of childbirth? You know, the woman in her 9th month, when the child is close to coming, the water breaks, right? And then that's when, you know, she knows that the child is coming. And then the whole situation with the contractions, and the closer it is that the child is going to be birthed, the contractions happen from, you know, spaced out to then happening more frequently, right? Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. You see, so the Lord likens it, the plagues of these prophecies coming to pass, right? You know, the famine, the pestilence, everything, Jacob's trouble, all of it, man. All right, it's going to be hitting like boom, 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 in that type of way. All right, like when the dominoes start to fall. All right, as you know, I've heard many times, you know, from the elders, they've said it's going to be popping like popcorn. And it's true. You can see it, man. You can see the development of all of these prophecies when you keep a very keen eye. You know, we're watchmen, you know, set by Yahweh Shemishai to continuously watch. So, you know, the observation, you know, and you know, it's of one spirit is that, looking at the way the world is right now and the development of these prophecies, things can just pop off just like that. Okay? And so the scriptures, you know, reign true with how, you know, the situation is described here regarding, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. So we're heading into that time of World War III, man. All right. And then, you know, there are no contingency plans or, you know, being a prepper or a survivalist or anything like that. It is all about, firstly, being an Israelite, and then believing in Yahweh Shemishai. That is the only way out of what is to come. All right. There's no carnal means that one can do, you know, to be able to get themselves out of it. It is all going to be by way of the grace and mercy of Yahweh Shemishai, and that is by way of your faith your belief in Yahweh Shemishai, that Yahweh Shemishai will, take you through it all. All right, so that's what it is, man. Things are getting hot day by day, and 2026 is going to be a hot year. We're in October now, and this year has been, this year has been really, really something, but things are going to be escalating very rapidly in these next few months, man. All right, you can see that the devil, talking about the so-called white man, the scriptures say it, man. In Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, talking about so-called white man, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So he's coming with great wrath, and he knows his time is short. So he's going to be like a dog, backed up in a corner. You know what I'm saying? Lashing out in their final moments, because these are their final moments. So they're going to be going buck wild out there. All right. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai by Shemakah Kodesh. Shalom.